Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. My name is Mars. Today we're going to be looking at the Scorn of the Bomb Family Trial. I don't know this fight super well. I'm just going to explain what I did. But before I get to that, I do have an announcement. Tonight we are going to be doing a pull stream. And I know it's a little bit crazy. I just pulled for last. Well, Mars, what are you doing? Pulling again already? Well, the good news is I had a small opportunity pull through on the channel. The same day that I happened to be really wishing I still had some channel revenue to throw at the banner. So it worked out really well for me. So now I get to do polls for the Chinese units, which I really love, and I'll tell my whole story about that in the stream tonight. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. So we'll see you tonight around 6:30 PST for the live stream. Now, getting onto the fight, I'm just using, pretty much a lot of the same squad that I normally use. I'm using White Knight Noel as my draw attacks, provoke / cover tank. For magic damage, he is invincible and amazing. I have him built so that he has a little bit of elemental resistance. He doesn't need full immunity or anything because we do buff it in this fight. I know there's a lot of ice and fire damage that goes out, so any little bit helps. It was most important that I fixed that he wasn't weak to fire because he's natively weak to fire. Other than that, he's just built to be as tanky as possible. Defense and spirit are both important, but I would say spirit is probably more important. We're using Ignis as our buffer, and one of the things that I recommend for people doing this fight is that you make your supports as tanky as possible if you're not making them full evade. If you have the option to make support units or other characters full evade with element resist, that will help you, but I tried to not overdo it on any of the builds in the sense of being excessively hard to kill. I just built Ignis with high element resistance, and that's about it. He provided our element buffs as well as our stat buffs and our general mitigation, so he was awesome. Volka here is going to be providing our barriers and our status ailment and break immunities and our healing, and that's all she did is she alternated between her two typed mitigation abilities for the healing and for the mitigation, as well as her little ability that gives barriers. So that's what she's here for, and that's all I needed her to do. I'm using White Lily Dark Fina as my damage dealer here. You'll remember from the last pull stream / video that I did, I managed to pull my first one ever, so I went ahead and used a UOC to get her to her 7-star form, and I don't regret it at all because she is very cool, very fun to use. I have her built for maximum damage, which, as you will find out in the video, it's not the best because there's some random attacks that kind of scatter across the party that cannot be provoked. And if your damage dealer doesn't have guts, or if they're not sufficiently tanky enough, there's a good chance that they'll die. I don't know what it would take to build one to be tanky enough to survive it, so I bothered with not figuring that out and just letting my Dark Fina die whenever she got hit by it. So it did slow down the fight a fair amount because anytime she died, we had to get her raised and get her stacks going again. But ultimately, that's how the game works. I don't want people to think that you have to have a perfect run where you take no damage in order to clear a fight. This is a little bit messier, and in my opinion, really honestly very easy. She's built for maximum damage, so I've got Force Mysterion for the Demon Killer, as well as Double Ravenheart for even more Demon Killer, and the Stardust Rod for even more Demon Killer. If there was something that I could recommend for people to do, it would be to equip the Rainbow Robe instead of Amiculum Nigra, but that's what I used in mine, so, that's what we're stuck with. But I do recommend a little bit of element resistance if you can slot it in. Unless you're not using a magic tank, I don't know how much. See, again, I don't know the fight very well. This is just what I did. Now, I used Adventurer Locke for a very specific reason. It's because he can combo both a Mirage and a single target stat break in the same multicast. So what I was using him for was to cast Hazy Step to give us a stack of Mirage to make us less susceptible to dying, to physical damage, and multicasting a Spirit Break. And I would just swap off between both of the bomb parents, so he was breaking their spirit, so Dark Fina's damage would go up. And he was casting Mirage for us so that we didn't die to the AoE physical attacks, and so we had a better chance of surviving the single target physical attacks. And you'll notice it even killed Folka at one point. Like, it's very ouchy, so you do want to be very careful about those random physical attacks. They're kind of a pain in the butt. Honestly, I don't love them. But it is what it is, and he also has some element resistance to make survival a little bit easier. And that's about it. That's the whole party. Let me know what you think of this fight, and I'll see everybody at tonight's stream.
한번 미세 등어를 しよう